Hello everyone, my name is Chanel Morgan.
I'm Kendra Cook.
And today we'll be doing our presentation on culture's perspectives on death on the culture Buddhism. So throughout these slides in this presentation, we are using the reference of the Buddhism of the afterlife and funeral traditions as our articles, and then those references will be linked at the last slide as well as APA formatting as well.
Okay, so as many of you know, Buddhism is based off the beliefs of Buddha, who was a spiritual leader. He believed that all of the world's problems are through want, and we suffer because we want. And so his goal is to end wanting, essentially. So followers follow a process called enlightenment, where they seek wisdom and they seek understanding and to separate from their physical self and things that they want. So the ultimate goal is to find a complete level of peace and understanding in that separation from the physical self. They have a really strong belief that the human is a soul that's separate from their physical body, and that really comes into play in their beliefs about the afterlife and death.
Okay. And then within the Buddhism culture, the afterlife perspective does consist of reincarnation, which just means that every human has a soul, and then after your death, your soul does depart from that physical body, and then is reincarnated into something else, such as an animal or another person, and it's just displays as a physical host.
Yeah. And so this really sets up a circular view of time instead of a linear view. It sets a person can continue to come back and learn and grow, and it's not necessarily the death is just an end. And I think that gives it a really positive perspective. You can end this cycle, which is the ultimate goal, a process called nirvana. And this is done by reaching that complete stage of understanding, or that complete separation from self, or that complete separation from want. And so when you reach nirvana, there are a couple different views, but it is either that your mind or soul goes to a place kind of like what we would view as heaven, and that's a place without suffering, or that you sort of cease to exist. But since the focus is suffering, that main goal is that regardless, after you die and go into nirvana, there's no more suffering. Okay. So when someone is dying, there are some important rites to kind of pay attention to if you're working with them. The family and friends are expected to sit around the individual until their departure, which is pretty similar to beliefs here. Difference are families are expected to reflect with the individual on the good things that they've done in life to kind of bring that energy out and focus on that. They're also supposed to encourage the person to accept their death as just a natural part of life, not good or bad. So instead of like shying away from the fact or trying not to pay attention to it, they are supposed to help the person focus on what is happening. Normally, a Buddhist statue is displayed above the individual's bed, and a lot of times they're chanting, which is called the last rites, which is supposed to bring peace and kind of help the person transport to their next stage. A really important fact for anyone in the medical field or who's just working with them, Buddhists do not believe that the soul leaves the body immediately after death is declared, and so no one is supposed to touch or move the body until it is completely cold and a certain amount of time has passed.
And then the customs and rituals that the Buddhist culture also display is that after the death of the person in the Buddhist culture, they do have spread out memorial services, and that usually occurs on the 3rd, 7th, 49th, and 100th day after the death. And then within these services, they also provide a ritual, and this ritual is called dana, and it's performed just the cleanness of the mind of the deceased. And also during those rituals as well, they do mourn and wear white instead of black, just like a variety of cultures that's here within the United States as well. And then
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting that they wear white, that it symbolizes exactly the same thing that black does in our culture. Because if someone saw them in white down the street, they would know that they were mourning, and they would view white as the professional kind of professional clothing that you would wear. And so they would view white the same way as we do. We kind of view white as innocent.
Yeah. And purity.
Yeah, kind of opposite. All right, and there are references. Have you ever thought about reincarnation?
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like one day I can come back as an elephant, maybe.
That would be great.
I think that'll be pretty
They're very
awesome.
intelligent. They're as smart as we are, really. So I'd like to believe in it. I think it's a lot more positive even more than
Yes.
like everyone moving on to heaven, because you kind of get that second chance and experience. And it is based on how you act. So that's nice. It encourages you to have good actions.
Yeah, and you have another viewpoint on life after
Yeah.
your death.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So thank you guys for watching and have a
Mhm.
wonderful day.
Mhm.
Bye.